Okay, what if I told you there's a way to make any concrete floor completely waterproof, forever, with just one single coat? And what if I said the solution isn't some fancy new technology, but something ridiculously simple and, well, insanely cheap? Let's dive in. Yep, that's it. $3. That's about what this permanent fix costs, and you can get it at any hardware store. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds way too good to be true, but stick with me, because the chemistry behind this has a 2,000-year track record.
I mean, just listen to that claim. This isn't a temporary patch. It's not just a water-resistant layer. It's a one-and-done treatment that means water doesn't get through. Ever.
Now hold that $3 thought and look at this number. $60 billion. That's how big the global construction waterproofing industry is. An industry that's pretty much built on products that need professionals to apply them and often need to be reapplied over and over. And that brings us to the real heart of the matter. If a simple, cheap, and permanent solution has been around forever, why isn't it the first thing we all learn about? Well, according to our source, the problem wasn't that it didn't work. The problem was that it worked too well. To really get what's going on, we have to take a step back in time, way back, because this isn't some new discovery. We're talking about ancient, proven technology, a secret used by some of the greatest builders in human history. And just look at this timeline. It's an unbroken chain of proof. You've got Roman engineers building aqueducts that, incredibly, still hold water today. You've got the builders of the Erie Canal. And all of them, centuries apart, were using the same fundamental chemistry to build things that last. And here's the key. This wasn't some secret recipe passed down through generations. Nope. Different civilizations kept rediscovering it all on their own. And why? Because it's not magic. It's just basic chemistry working on common materials. So how in the world does this simple liquid work so well? To really understand its power, we have to zoom in and look at what concrete is actually like on the inside. You see, we think of concrete as this solid, impenetrable rock, but it's not. On a microscopic level, it's actually more like a really, really hard sponge, full of these tiny little tunnels and pores. And that's the weakness. That's how water gets in and starts causing all the problems, the leaks, the cracks, the damage. So here's what happens. The solution, which is sodium silicate, soaks right down into all those tiny pores. Once it's in there, it finds a substance that's already in the concrete, a byproduct of the cement itself. A chemical reaction kicks off, and it starts growing new, rock-hard crystals. These crystals expand and fill every single microscopic gap, effectively sealing the concrete completely from the inside out. And get this, there's an incredible side effect. By filling in all those empty voids, this treatment doesn't just block water. It actually makes the concrete denser and much, much stronger. One study found it increased the concrete's compressive strength by a whopping 31%. The lab tests are even more mind-blowing. They put concrete through 300 freeze-thaw cycles. That's like simulating decades of brutal winter weather. The untreated sample, it got completely torn up. The treated concrete, it showed literally zero surface damage. It didn't just slow down the deterioration, it stopped it cold. So this is the most crucial thing to understand. This is not paint. It is not a sealer that just sits on top. It can't peel off, it can't flake away, it can't wear out. It becomes a permanent part of the concrete's internal structure. The concrete was a sponge, and now it is a solid block of crystal. End of story. Okay, which brings us back to that big question. If this stuff is so cheap, so effective, and so ancient, why are most of us just hearing about it now? Well, the source material points to a very specific shift that happened in modern history. Check this out. During World War II, the U.S. Army did extensive testing, and a now declassified technical manual confirmed it. Sodium silicate beat every other compound they looked at. It was cheap, easy to use, and you only had to apply it once. And this table right here says it all. A lot of the expensive, professional-grade waterproofing products you can buy today are based on the exact same active ingredient, reactive silica. They do the same thing in the same way. The only real difference is the price tag. The story goes that after the war, the industry changed its marketing. Waterproofing was suddenly presented as this really complex problem. The focus shifted to proprietary formulas that required certified professionals to apply them. And in that shift, the simple, cheap solution that anybody could do themselves just faded into the background. So let's get practical.
How can you use this 2,000-year-old engineering secret yourself? Honestly, it's described as being almost ridiculously simple. First things first, you gotta find it. You're looking for sodium silicate solution. Now, it's sold under a few different names like concrete densifier, concrete hardener, or sometimes water glass, but you'll find it in the masonry aisle of pretty much any big hardware store. And applying it could not be easier. You clean the concrete really well, get it a little damp with water, then just pour on the solution and spread it around with a garden sprayer or a roller. The one key step is to keep the surface wet with the stuff for about 30 minutes. That gives it time to soak in really deep. After that, you just let it cure. That's it. The results speak for themselves. This quote is from a retired civil engineer. For less than $12, he completely solved a basement flooding issue that had been happening every single year for 30 years. And that's really the point of all this. This knowledge isn't a trade secret. It belongs to anybody. The solution was never really lost. It was just sitting there on a shelf, waiting for someone to pick it up and read the label. The chemistry was always there. And that kind of leaves you with a final thought, doesn't it? If a 2,000-year-old $3 solution to a multi-billion-dollar problem was this close the whole time, it really makes you wonder, what other powerful, simple solutions are out there, just hiding in plain sight?
If you find this video helpful, please be sure to smash that like button and subscribe.